Overnight, the global picture is being driven by a sharp escalation risk in the Middle East, with direct implications for energy markets, shipping and inflation. In the Iran-Israel-US confrontation, Iran's military has warned it would target vital regional infrastructure, including US-linked energy and desalination facilities, if Iranian power plants are struck, after President Trump issued a 48-hour ultimatum tied to reopening the Strait of Hormuz. Israel's Prime Minister Netanyahu has publicly backed potential U.S. strikes on Iran's power grid if Tehran does not comply. On the ground, Iranian missile strikes have injured around 180 people in towns near Israel's Dimona nuclear site, raising questions about the effectiveness of Israeli air defenses and the risk of further retaliation. Separately, violence in the occupied West Bank has flared, with reports of Israeli settlers attacking Palestinian villages following the death of an 18-year-old settler. Beyond the Middle East, conflict pressures continue elsewhere. In Ukraine, Russian attacks reportedly killed 6 people across 4 southeastern regions in the past 24 hours. In Sudan, the WHO says a drone strike on a key hospital during Eid killed 64 people, including children and medical staff. In the Caribbean, Cuba has suffered a second national blackout in a week, underscoring the fragility of its power grid amid fuel constraints. Economically, the key global risk is an energy and shipping shock. The Financial Times is warning of a looming gas supply cliff edge as the last LNG cargoes that left the Gulf before the latest missile exchanges approach ports over the next 10 days, while also arguing the crisis is exposing U.S. maritime fragility and the limits of efficiency-first supply chains. The immediate read-throughs: higher volatility in oil and gas, rising freight and insurance costs, and renewed inflation pressure if Hormuz disruption becomes sustained. Turning to Australia, the Middle East conflict is already showing up in fuel logistics. SBS reports 6 oil tankers scheduled to deliver to Australia have had voyages cancelled. The current assessment is price bumps rather than physical shortages, but the cancellations highlight Australia's exposure to global shipping disruptions and the speed at which geopolitical risk can feed into household costs and business input prices. On the technological revolution and artificial intelligence, a domestic pressure point is energy and water demand from data centers. The Sydney Morning Herald reports advocates are pushing for data centers to actively back the renewable transition to secure priority under new guidelines, warning that the resource intensity of AI infrastructure could become a risk to energy security and water availability. This is a material policy issue for the Australian Public Service and Governance, balancing rapid AI-driven investment with grid reliability, planning approvals, and community impacts. In Australian politics, South Australia is delivering a notable signal. The ABC project One Nation will win its first seat in SA's lower house, and analysis in the conversation argues the result reflects deeper shifts, with One Nation's surge and the Liberal Party's collapse likely to reshape campaign strategies nationally, including pressure on senior coalition figures. In markets and the economy, watch today for any flow-through from global oil and gas volatility into Australian energy stocks and broader inflation expectations, alongside continued scrutiny of how AI infrastructure demand is being priced into utilities and renewables. Finally, locally and in sport, the ABC reports cricket Australia's most congested schedule yet, with 4 tests in 31 days, forcing a midweek start in Perth. In football, the Matildas are regrouping after their Asian Cup loss, with teammates backing Caitlin Ford and uncertainty continuing around captain Sam Kerr's club future, while coach Joe Montemurro says the next phase is only beginning.